Hi, everybody. It's Kathy Andis with Simply Cards by Kathy, and welcome. Today is Tuesday, August the 30th, 2022, and you may have noticed I wasn't on live last night because beginning this week, I've switched my live evening to Tuesday evenings, and we'll continue with Friday Fun at 1 um, on Fridays. So, if you are new to my channel, welcome. I'm so happy you found me. And if you're returning, thank you for your support and for joining me again this evening. Today, we're going to use the Fond of Autumn bundle. About a week ago, I showed you how to make an easel card using the large die cut from the Fond of Autumn bundle. And if you didn't catch that live, go back and take a look at the replay. And I had promised I would come back this week showing you how to use some of the other dies in that bundle. So that's what we're going to do today. And there's actually one die that will make two cards. So I'm excited to share that with you. So I am going to flip this camera to my desktop and we're going to get started. Okay, hopefully you can see and hear me well. Today we're going to use the Fond of Autumn bundle. And again, we're going to use this large stamp. We're going to color it in and then die cut it. These are the dies that go along with it. There's 7 of them. And you can see there's one that does the large die cut. There's a pretty intricate die that I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to use that. And then this one is the one we're going to be using today that cuts that large image into several different pieces where you can use all of them or one of them or all of them on one card or use them for more than one card. So we're going to do that today. And I've also used this very intricate one. So I'm going to move these off. And I want to bring in one more thing. On the background of one of the cards, I am using the stitched greenery die. Now, if you're not familiar with this, it makes beautiful backgrounds, and it doesn't actually cut the background out. It punches it, so you almost look like you have an embroidered finish to the card. And we'll be using that on one of our cards today. And this is found in the annual catalog. So I am going to bring in my mini catalog for just a minute to show you where you can find the Fond of Autumn bundle. This bundle's on page 52 of the July to December, mini catalog. And if you get it as a bundle, you get it at 10% off. So I am going to bring in our supplies and we're going to get started. So one of the cards that we're going to make today is using Old Olive as our background. And I'm not going to show you the card because at the end I'm going to show you a bunch of them. And this is 5.5 by 8.5 scored at 4 1/4. And I'm going to go ahead and fold that and just burnish it with my bone folder. Now I'm also using a piece of pumpkin pie. And with this, I used that very intricate die cut from the Fond of Autumn bundle. And I ran that through the die cut machine to save us a little bit of time. And the reason being is it is a very intricate die and you have to get all the pieces parts out. And I did not want you to have to watch me do that, but I do have a tip for how to do it. So this is the die that was used. And all you do is lay it on your piece of cardstock and run it through. And it's going to come out with all these little pieces that you see. Now, a tip for this that I get asked a lot, if I have an intricate die cut like that, I use wax paper the first time that I run this through. And all I do is take a piece of wax paper like this. I lay it on top of my cardstock. or a scrap piece of cardstock, and I run it back and forth a couple times through my cut and emboss machine. And that makes it easier for these pieces to come out. Once you do that, the easy way to that I get these out is I use my pick tool. And this is a piece of styrofoam. Now you can use your piercing mat if you have one, or if you have the brush end to the your piercing tool, you get 2 of these sponge backgrounds come with that. So all I do is I turn this over, and I find it punches out easier for me if I punch from the back. And what I like about this sponge or your piercing mat is that the little pieces stay on the mat and don't get all over. We have a few more here, just 2 more. And it kind of helps to keep the area a little bit cleaner. And then you can easily just take and put them into the trash and you're good. So we're going to be using this today. And I also cut a piece of foil. It's our gold foil, and it is 3 by 4 inches. Now, if I didn't say this already, don't worry about the measurements because they're going to be all right down below. The link for them will be below in the video. It'll take you over to my website, and you'll be able to see the measurements, the supplies, the written instructions, and the video is even there for you to review if you need to. So this is going to fit on the back of this, and you're going to see it's going to show through. And then we're going to finish our card off from there. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to use some multi-purpose glue. And I'm just going to go around the edge of this. And again, not very heavy-handed because I don't want that glue all over my foil. If you do get glue on your foil, and I often do because it's on my hands when I'm using foil and attaching it to whatever I'm using it with, if you take an alcohol swab and gently wipe your foil off, it will take that glue and stickiness off and bring the shine back on your foil. So that's a little tip there. Now I'm going to set this down, and I want to place this, and I have one more little piece here. There we go. I want to place this over the foil and make sure I get the whole thing covered. And we have one more piece. Let's get that out of there. Okay. And then I'm going to give it a good pressing because I want it to adhere. Okay, there we go. There's our gold background. And I'm going to go ahead and put this on the front of my card. And I am going to use multi-purpose glue because that allows me to have a little wiggle room if I have to reposition it at all. And this piece, this layer is 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so there's the front of our card. Now we're ready to stamp our image. So to do that, I am going to bring in my Stamparatus. Okay, and I am going to use the shimmer white cardstock. And I have a pretty good sized piece here. So I'm just going to go ahead and position this with my magnets. Okay, and let's grab another one from the bottom. There we go. And I'm going to put one here. And I'm going to put another one here. Now, I'm going to pull in that large stamp. And all I'm going to do is lay it down so that I get a good image. I'm also going to stamp the little flower, so I'm going to lay that here. And I want an extra acorn, so I'm going to go ahead and put that here. Now, all you have to do is lay this down, give it a good press, and it should pick up your stamps. I use my bone folder to hold the paper down, and I am going to reposition this up in here. There we go. So that's not going to work because of our stamp. So let's see, that'll work. Okay, let's go with that right now. And I am going to use Memento ink. So I'm going to bring in just another color and lay that there. I am going to be using blends to color this image. So I'm going to use Memento ink because that'll prevent them from the ink from bleeding. And just go over this really well. Now, what I like about the Stamparatus is that if you don't get a good image the first time, it's positioned and you can go right back over it. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and give this a good press. I'm going to bring in my Chucky and just give this a good press to make sure. And I'm going to leave it on the paper for a minute in the hopes that it absorbs the ink. So let's pick up. And that looks good, but I have a few lines here that I would like darker. I really want this to be a nice, sharp image. So I am going to re-ink my stamp set. And you can see the areas I missed in the berries up in here. I want to make sure I get that really good. And again, this floral image. And let's go back over it. And I'm not worried because I know that it's in the exact same position it was in before. And that looks good. I like that. I want to get this little leaf here. There we go. So I'm happy with that. So let's take this out. And I'm just going to set this off to the side and we can clean it after. I have all kinds of blends here. So I'm going to start off with, and just start coloring. I'll give you some tips as I color, and you'll see me reach over. Hopefully they'll be helpful to you. I have soft suede, both the light and the dark here. And I'm going to take my dark soft suede, and I'm just going to come in here and add some definition. And I use the lines that are provided by the stamp set. Now I might even take a little bit around the bottom here. And there's another one right here. Okay. And then I'm going to come in with my light, and I'm going to pull that color through. Now, when I'm using my blends, I'm very light-handed. For one, I don't want these fine tips to get bent or frayed, kind of worn down, like pilled. And also because I find I get better color if I'm light-handed and better blending. I also don't get any bleeding typically through because I don't go right up to the very edge. These are alcohol markers, so the ink is going to carry through a little bit, as you can see. And I'm going to try to bring you in a little closer, so bear with me. I don't mean to make you dizzy. Okay. And then I want the tops here to be dark. Heaven knows I have enough acorns in my backyard because we back up to a nature preserve, and my whole backyard is covered with oak trees. So we are forever cleaning them up so that the dog doesn't eat them. And then again, just light-handed. I typically a lot of times will go in one direction or stop and go in the other. I don't rub mine back and forth like that because it pills the paper, and then you don't have as nice of an image. Okay, so there's our acorns. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do our leaves that go with the berries. So for that, I'm using Granny Apple Green. And I'm going to come in with the dark Granny Apple Green, and we're going to add some lines of definition right in here, again, following the leaves and the accent lines from the stamp set. And then I'm going to come in with my light and just pull through. I find if I do use, and I stay light-handed, my markers last me, my blends, much longer than if I don't. When I first started using the blends, it was a learning curve. I had to kind of learn to not be so heavy-handed with them. It isn't like using a crayon or even a water pencil or colored pencil. So I find if I'm light-handed that my markers last me much longer. Okay, let's go on to these. Normally, I would not leave my markers lay open because they dry out, but because I am switching back and forth so often here for that short period of time, it's not going to hurt them. If you are with me live, leave me a comment where you're from. And again, like I mentioned, if you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button, and you'll get notified of when I go live or post a new video. So for anyone watching, tomorrow is the end of celebration. So it's the end of the opportunity to join and get $125 worth of products for $99, or also to get free celebration products. So if there's been something you've been wanting to get, I would say now is the time to probably think about doing that before that ends tomorrow night at midnight Mountain Time. I'm going to pick, now I'm going to use my pumpkin pie, and I'm going to make my leaves like the color of fall. So I'm going to come in with the dark and just go ahead and again outline my lines that have been emphasized by the stamp. And then I'm going to come in with my light pumpkin pie. Whoops, wrong end. And I'm just going to pull that color right through. And again, you can see I kind of work around the color, but as I pull, I'm going in one direction. Or I stop and switch directions. I don't use, I don't do the back and forth movement. Now, if you're using your blends, the best papers to use them with would be your shimmer white or your thick basic white cardstock. It just kind of holds up a little bit better. Also, if you're going to go over the color, give it a chance to dry because color changes as it dries. So there's that leaf. I'm going to flip this around and let's do this one. And again, just going to do some accents. And I think I'm going to give this a little bit darker color in here. If you're out there watching me, let me know what's your favorite medium to color with, or even if you like coloring. I love to color. To me, it's extremely relaxing. And it's just a chance, gives me a chance to do something creative that I don't think I would otherwise be able to do. And I love all mediums. I love to watercolor. I love our blends. I like using the watercolor pencils. We have great watercolor pencils, but I think I love watercoloring even more with our inks and our water brushes. And my mind just blanked on the name of the brushes. I think this is one of my favorite stamp sets of all for fall. I love the leaves, the look of the leaves and the berries. So for the berries, I'm going to bring in, I have Blackberry Bliss, and that's what I'm going to use for it. And I'm just going to put some dark around the very bottom, because if you look at berries, even blueberries, right down at the end, you'll see it's darker there than it is as you move up, as the berry is closer to the stem of the tree. Now, I get asked a lot about bleeding. And I mentioned this briefly before. You can see I don't go right up to the edge. I go up around it, and you can see that hopefully the ink will spread. And then if I need to, I'll go back over it. I'm going to take just my green and the thin end, and I'm just going to add a little bit of color to the stems here. Hopefully my head isn't in the way of the video. And then this one I missed. So that looks good. Okay, let's do our flowers. Now, I'm going to pull in Evening Evergreen for these leaves because I want them to be different than the others. So this is Dark Evening Evergreen. And I'm just going to, again, follow my lines. This is one of my favorite greens. And then we're going to come in with the light Evening Evergreen and just kind of pull that in. There's not a whole lot of difference in this color when you blend them, but I just think it's such a rich looking color for leaves. Really a great one for the holidays. And we're going to just work our way around here gently. Hard to believe the day after tomorrow is September. And I hope you have some great plans for the holiday weekend. I'm going to come back in with my Granny Apple Green with the dark. We're going to do these leaves right here. And I'm just going to add a little bit more dark to the base of the leaf. And then finish up with the light. Now, I mentioned to you, if you want to go over with color to let this dry, and if you can see this, you're going to see these colors blend and change as they dry. there's that. And then let's get this one here. Now the flowers I'm going to do a little bit different. I am going to use Calypso Coral with Flirty Flamingo. And I think you'll be surprised at the color. But it's also to show you to take the opportunity to use your colors and mix them up a little bit, and you'll be able to create other colors than what you already have. So there's that. And we might as well do this leaf while we're at it. Okay. Hopefully you'll stay with me through the end, and I'll be able to show you some additional cards with this. Okay, so there's that. So we're going to move these out of the way here. And now I'm going to bring in my Flirty Flamingo for the petals. We're going to use some Calypso Coral with it. And then I'm going to use, I think I have Mango Melody for the center. I do. So I'm going to start off with my darker Calypso Coral. And I'm just going to add a little bit on the inside of the petals. And then I'm going to come in with my Flirty Flamingo. And I'm going to pull that Calypso Coral through. And you're getting to see we get a whole new color at the base of that. And I did this when I was working on this the other day because I wanted a little bit deeper, like a pink coral, so that this would be really bright to pull through and highlight these flowers. And so I started working with the corals and the pinks and found that Flirty Flamingo with the Calypso Coral worked really well. I don't know what I'd name this color, but I definitely like it. I'm going to go ahead and add some here too. And I'm going to turn this. I like to pull the color towards me. So I just turn my paper around so that I can do that. And we're just going to keep working through here to get this done. Now, once you have this colored and you die cut it, it's very quick to finish up the cards because you have enough pieces to do 2 cards if you choose to, which is what we're going to do today. If you are new to Stampin' Up! And you don't have a catalog, I would love to send you one. Just click on that link at the top of my YouTube page or right at the bottom of the banner on the right and go over to my website and hit Contact Me and send me an email with your name. And don't forget your address, because I've had people contact me saying, please send me a catalog, and they don't include their address in there. So then I have to write back and say, happy to, but need your address. So include that, and I'll be happy to get one out to you in the mail. as soon as possible. And then if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would be honored to be able to earn your business and work with you to help you meet your crafting and stamping needs. Okay, we're just about done here. And I don't know if you can see the sparkle in this paper, but it's absolutely gorgeous. Now I'm going to come in with my Mango Melody, and I'm going to go around the edge, and I'm just going to add some dark Mango Melody to those little dots. I'm guessing where like the pollen would be. So we're just going to go in gently and just add those there. And then I'm going to come in with my light Mango Melody and finish up these flowers. The center. Okay. Now, we still need to finish up these berries that I missed. If you can hear the noise in the background, that's my pooch. I have a golden. His name is Bailey. Some of you may have met him on previous videos. Every now and then I will post him on my Facebook page because he kind of pops up here and introduces himself to people. Now we're going to use this little flower on the inside of one of our cards. And then the little acorn will go on the inside of the other card. Ooh. Okay, that looks pretty good. So let's do the center. And I'm just gonna kind of go around it real gently with the bigger brush here. And we're just about done coloring. That's the longest part of this, isn't it? And then our little acorn, we're gonna come back in with our soft suede and do the stem. Okay, and we're just about done here. So I'm going to pick this up to show you, and we're going to get all of these blends out of our way here so that not there. Hopefully you can see some of the sparkle in the paper, but look at the color. So here's how we're going to do our cut this out. I am going to bring in my plate, and we're going to lay this down. And I'm going to go ahead, and this is how this is going to fit on this image. So to hold it there, because I miss our magnetic plate, I use a piece of tape, and it's not real sticky. It comes off great, and it doesn't pull the color off your images if it tends to get on the image too. And then I'm going to bring in our little flower, and we're going to cut that out at the same time. And I'm just going to cover that. And let's do our little acorn. Okay, and I'm going to grab a piece of tape here so that it doesn't move. Okay, And then I'm going to take you up a little bit now so that you're not so close, because I'm going to bring in my cut and emboss machine. Okay. And I'm going to show you with the cut and emboss machine, if you're new to using it, you have plates you're going to use for your die cuts. Plate number 1, plate number 2, and then lay your paper and die cuts on plate number 3, and you're going to cover it with the second number 3 plate. And you're just going to put it in and run it through your cut and emboss machine. Let's move this out of our way and bring in our dies. So here is that large image that we colored. And we have leaves, berries, and the flower. And then we have our extra flower and our acorn. So we're going to use those here. So now we're going to put our card together. And we're going to come back to this one. And I want to show you what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to take Early Espresso ink, and I'm going to make this a thank you. And I'm going to take the thank you from the Fond of Autumn set. Now, I don't do much of anything straight, so I will pick this up actually with, once I get it straight with the stamp. So I want to emboss this in brown. So in order to do that, I am going to take out my little embossing buddy. We have this tray. If you don't have this, it's in our mini catalog. I just love this. It's been gone for a while and it's finally back. And what I'm going to do, and I probably should have done this before I attached it, but I'm okay with doing it this way. I'm just going to wipe where my embossing buddy, where I'm going to put the embossing powder down, because I want to get rid of the static. And I'm going to reach over here and grab my heat gun, because I forgot to do that ahead of time. And let's plug it in here. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to pick up the ink on the Versamark. Remember, that's your sticky ink for heat embossing. So I'm going to pick up the ink with Versamark, and then I'm going to pick up the ink for the Early Espresso. And I'm just going to come in here and give it a good press. Okay, now we're going to cover all this up, get it out of the way so I don't get it on my card. And I'm going to bring in my little tray here, and I'm using the clear Stampin' Up! Embossing powder. I'm simply going to sprinkle that over where I've embossed and then tap it off. And you can see I don't have any excess on there. Now this little spout allows me to pour it back into the piece of paper there, into the little jar that holds it, so that it keeps things pretty neat and clean for you, which I love. And then I'm able to get it back in there without getting it all over. Now, the next thing is I want to heat emboss this. So this is going to be loud, but I'm going to turn it on so it can heat up. And then we're going to heat emboss that, and you'll see it turn shiny, but it's going to be the color of the Early Espresso. So let's just come in. Now when I'm heat embossing, I don't move it around a lot. I keep it and follow it through. And you can see the magic where that kind of turns. Once that turns, I stop, because if you overheat your embossing powder, it will flatten out. But look at that. Look at the raised area and look how shiny it is. Can you see that? I just love that. So now we're ready to finish our creation with our flowers. So with this, I'm going to use my leaves. And I think I'm just going to follow this right around and just give it some, go ahead and just kind of make my own little arrangement. So I'm going to use Stampin' Dimensionals, and because I want to pop this up. So let's put some in here. Now I have a little piece here that had to still come out. I'm going to put one here. And I'm putting a lot of these on, I know, but I want this to, if I were to send it through the mail, I would want it to stay popped up and not flatten out. I love the pick tool for taking the backs off. And then I think I'm going to put this one right about here. And then I'm going to take my, I think this one, and we're going to pop that up right in here so that it's coming in from the top. And I'm going to use these to tuck in. And that way it'll be on the same kind of plane as this is. And then let's bring these in from down here. I kind of like that. Okay. There we go. This way I have my gold showing through, so I like that. So for the front, I'm going to bring in some polished dots, and we're going to add some of those to the front of our card. And I'm going to pick them up with my pick tool. Little piece of fuzz there. And let's get a little one, and we're going to put that right in here. Okay, so there's the front of our card. Now the inside of our card is 4 by 5 1/4. I am going to leave it blank because it is a thank you card, but I'm going to attach this little acorn to the lower right corner. And then let's go ahead and adhere this to the inside with our multi-purpose glue. Now the other thing I want to do to the acorns is I thought I'd add some Wink of Stella, because if you have acorns in your yard like we do, you know that the shell is kind of the shiny part, and the darker uneven part is the cap. So I'm going to bring my Wink of Stella in and just give it a little light press, and just going to color in the bottom portion of our acorns so that they look like they're the shiny shell that you might see out in the yard. And I'm going to do the same thing here with the inside. And here's our first card. So hopefully you can see the gold and see the shine on the acorns. So here's our first card. So let's go on to our second card now. Okay, we still have these flowers to use. So for the second card, I am going to bring in So Saffron. And it is again same size, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And gonna go ahead and burnish. And on this one, I'm also using pumpkin pie, but this is the one where I used the stitched greenery as a layer for our card. So we're gonna go ahead and adhere this. To the outside of our card. This is just such a pretty layer. Okay, now I cut 2 circles, and these are from the Stylish Shapes dies to use as my focal point for the card. So with this one, I'm not sure which. I think I'm going to use the smaller one, and I want to come in and stamp this with pumpkin pie, and I'm going to use the greeting Autumn Wishes. So will that fit? It'll just fit. So let's do that, and I'm going to line it up so that I get it straight. And I truly am telling you the truth when I say that's the only way I get my greetings straight. And even then, sometimes they're not. And I'm going to come in with my pumpkin pie. And I'm going to go ahead and, you know what? I think I'm going to use the bigger one. Let's do that, because I have some extra flowers that I had cut out. So we're going to ink this up, and just going to come in with it like this. Again, straight down and straight up, and let's close this up. And then I'm going to adhere this, but I'm going to glue it down, because what I'm going to use the dimensionals on is the flowers. So let's do that here. Okay. And then let's see how we want to put these on here. Kind of like that. And maybe just one of the smaller flowers will pop up here. So let's get those on. Now, I happen to have extra because I was doing a lot of coloring of this stamp set. But you can actually, just this, the one image that we colored would be enough to finish up this card. And so that you'd have 2 cards with that one image. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's adhere this here. And then I'm going to add this small one right here. Yeah. Maybe not. What do you think? Should we add it or leave it? I'm going to leave it. And we're going to come in with our gems again that I just used. These are the polished dots. And we're going to go ahead and add them to the front of our card. So let's do that here. I'm going to put one here. Let's put one down here. Little piece of putty from our pick tool. And then we're going to take a small one and put that up in here. So there's the front of our card, and we could certainly, let's see. I'm going to add that one there now that I have my gems down. And all you need is 2 Stampin' Dimensionals for that. I'm going to come in right here with that. And then for the inside of our card, again, I'm going to use a 4 by 5 1/4 and adhere this to the inside. Again, I leave my insides blank a lot for one reason, till I see who I'm sending them to and why. And then I can go ahead and stamp a greeting on the inside, or it allows me to write a personalized message. Now I have an extra flower, so I'm just going to go ahead and adhere that to the inside. I'm not going to pop that up because I don't want to add any more bulk to the card for mailing. And then I'm going to come in here and we're going to add just a little bit of Wink of Stella on our flowers. And you can see there's not a whole lot to adding it, just kind of putting it over there. And I'm going to do the same for the inside. Okay. So let me move these all out of the way and let's bring in our cards. And I have a few more to show you. So here's a thank you card using the gold foil with that die. And here's one image die cut to give you 2 cards. Now this was another one I did that I used the images a little bit darker and carried it through with the leaves similar to the flowers. And then this was another one with the gold. So here's 3 different cards. And again, you get 2 out of that one die cut. And I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Help me grow my channel. Hit that subscribe button. And I will be back actually tomorrow with an extra video showing you how to do alternate projects using paper pumpkins, sweet sunflowers. And again, on Friday, I'll be back for Friday Fun at 1. So I hope you have a great evening. Stay safe and hope to see you soon.